Hello, everybody, my paranormal fanatics. It's another wonderful Saturday night in the world and possibly in the universe, for all I know. We have a lovely duo that's willing to come on the show. Can you believe that? Another group from the UK. That seems to be the going thing. We get somebody from one country, and before we know it, we get 3 or 4, and then we jump to another country and get a couple more going there. So, but without further ado, because I'm done rambling and I don't know what more to tell you guys. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Angela, and Mr. Consultant. Of course, Saturday night you get the fedora, right? International fedora. Yeah. So I'll bring them on, and Tom Slimman. No, did I pronounce that right? I have not heard of Tom, but is there any particular field that he's part of, or just want to know if I know your next door neighbor? But without further ado, let's bring on Ben and Lou. Hey, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Oh, yeah.
How we doing?
All right.
I'm good. Just trying to figure out fun stuff to ramble on about, but my mind was working slower than my mouth. So, if you'll take a moment, let's see. Have you guys heard of Tom Slimman? Haunted Liverpool books. Ah,
No,
cool.
sorry.
Now, Angela knows a little bit about the UK. She's been there several times that I'm aware of. So maybe she has some fun, interesting things to mention. And the chat is going quicker than I'm able to keep up with. I'm just starting out. Sheila, I'm in McKean County. Nice to catch live. Well, yeah, welcome to the live show. McKean is not too far from me. If you're speaking of McKean, Pennsylvania, I'd say probably 40 minutes, maybe. I'm actually not in Warren, Pennsylvania. I'm in a little town called Tidioute, Pennsylvania. And I'd like to say that I'm Tidioute's biggest YouTuber, next to the goat that's down the way. You know, that goat has a pretty strong following. He's competition for sure.
No.
All right, yeah. So she says that she has family in Warren and has been to Tidioute, and so McKean, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So if you'll take a moment and do me a favor introducing yourselves, I'll just shut up and let you introduce yourself.
You go first. You go first.
Ladies first.
Yeah. Oh, why? First of all, hi to the viewers and people in chat, and hi to Jeanette, because she's a friend of ours from over here.
Why are you still awake, Jeanette?
Yeah, how are you still awake, Jeanette?
Maybe she took a nap too.
Yeah. So yeah, we're over here in the UK. We do a podcast and radio show. We have another presenter as well, but he's on a break at the moment and he'll be back soon. The podcast and radio show is called The Other Dimension. It's live on Facebook and on Pulse Talk Radio.
There we go.
And Paranormal is a paranormal radio show. We also help out other teams here in this country with their investigations. Like, they'll be at a location, they'll have something strange happen, they call us. We go and look at it, sort it out, kind of thing.
That would be like our friend here, paranormal consultant.
Yeah. As of today as well, we're working in conjunction with the Haunted Museum in Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah.
So go check out them.
The Haunted Museum where?
Stoke-on-Trent.
Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, because that's we went there to visit today.
They have a Facebook page as well, or?
Yes, they do. Yeah, go follow them. They have some of the best footage And if you're ever in the UK, brilliant place to go and visit.
Nice. I don't know if I'll be making it there anytime soon. My biggest thing is I'm afraid of air heights, so I can't imagine flying would be pleasant for me. She says she was watching TV, and Jeanette says was watching TV, but want to zonk out sleeping tonight.
It's okay, Jeanette. You don't have to stay up. You can just go sleep. Just catch up tomorrow. It's fine.
And you already got a question. Where are you from in the UK?
We're on the border of a place between Nottingham and Derby, so pretty much bang centre of the UK. A place called Jacksdale.
Yeah, because people have heard of a tiny village called Jacksdale. Yeah. Right, you know where Robin Hood was? We're near there.
just follow
near
that.
Sherwood Forest, where Robin Hood was. It's fine.
And Mr. Consultant says I surpassed the goat, and no one can compete with the fedora. Nice. Yeah, not me. The fedora is the star of the show. That's the gentleman that I was saying also has a show that's a little zanier than mine. So if you're looking for be on a show with a little off the wall antics, he's your guy.
Yeah, I can do.
They love your accents.
We've got
Go with your accent.
We've got proper northern accents for our country. So Lou is from
Yorkshire,
a major place called Yorkshire, and I'm from deep in the Peak District, which to you lot would be pretty much like the deep south kind of area.
You got that southern draw. So
I'm
do you guys
farming land? So
you guys hear people say they love your accent, and to you it's normal. It doesn't sound like anything off from what you normally hear. Then you talk to people like us, and it's like we have accents.
Yeah. To be fair, most people in our country can't really understand my accent as it is. So.
No, he was further south in the country, like proper south in our country, and he had an accident. And he went to hospital, and they had to get a translator because the people that worked down there didn't understand his accent. So they had to get someone who knew like the northern accent to come and translate for them with the southern accent.
I can't believe it's that much of a difference.
Honestly, down south, some people, they've got completely different accent to ours.
Angela says my son has a T-shirt from Stoke-on-Trent.
Nice.
Is that how that's pronounced?
Yeah.
Okay. She's also asking near London.
We're about 4 hours drive away from London.
Yeah, we're further up north.
Yeah, which is pretty much the entire length of the country.
I heard that it's kind of a little smaller area over there.
It is.
And that's why people are able to get away with bicycling as much as opposed to like us over here with the vehicles and such.
Well, Texas is your state. Texas is about the same size as Europe.
So we're just a tiny speck of that.
Yeah.
That's amazing because I hate driving through Texas because it takes so long.
Yeah.
I used to be over the road driver, truck driver, and so certain states is like, really? Texas was one because it was long. Ohio was not a long state or a big state. I mean, it's not small, but they set their speed limits so slow for truck drivers. It's like, seemed like it took forever to get through. Janet says, I won't notice visitors. If it returns, I'll be flat out. I think she's saying she won't notice visitors.
She's got a very active house at the minute when it comes to paranormal. So we've been working in conjunction with her recently.
Yeah, she has lots of visitors come by that way.
Oh, nice.
Like paranormal.
Well, I mean, I don't think she probably finds it too nice, but
she's getting used to it. It's fine.
Angela says my husband is from Talkteeth, Liverpool. I'm not sure how that would be pronounced.
Toxteth, I think.
Toxteth.
Yeah, Toxteth.
Okay. See, that's what you guys need to do is just follow me around and correct my bad You guys are hired. Shawman. Hi, Shawwoman. I'm saying Shawman. Hi, Shawwoman. How you doing tonight? thanks for joining in. And we haven't even had a chance to really chat between ourselves. I'm just so busy keeping up with the chat.
Yeah.
What about the Virgin train? How long instead of driving?
Yeah, I think that's still about 2 hours. I think because we haven't got a long stretch of rail, so it has to stop, start, stop, start, stop, start.
Although if you go from London to Stoke, it's about an hour because they don't stop there. It's just they've just got a direct train, but to come up here, you've got all your different stops.
So we established that England is small.
Yeah, it is.
Has a bunch of visitors that are not of the living world, and your other friend's skipping out on sleep, so she could watch you guys. Well, that's all the questions I had. Have a lovely night. We're done. But all kidding aside, now, how long have you guys been doing the consultant side of things?
I've been doing it for getting on. I basically started studying cultology and demonology when I was about 14.
Oh wow!
So I've been with a consultant then, and I'm now 32, and the gap's that big pretty much that I've been consulting as well between all that lot.
And then just when we got together, he dragged me into it.
Yeah, Lou got dragged in. Lou got dragged in as a student, and now she's like my right-hand person.
I was about to say she seems to be happy about it. So
yeah, she has her own gifts that she brings, which is quite handy as well.
Yeah, but you've got all your studying and everything like that.
Yeah, and
all your knowledge and practical experiences.
Yeah, there is that.
Hi, Vicky. So you do more of the studying and book knowledge of stuff, where Lou, you have more of the sensations of.
Well, he does both. It's just easy to say because he's got all these years of studying and with his PhD and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then, but he's also got abilities as well.
Oh, nice.
And I'm coming along in both senses. Yeah.
Nice. And Angela wants to know if you have been to an Anglican cathedral.
I've not been to an angelic cathedral. No,
it's Anglican.
Oh, Anglican. Sorry.
Anglican.
See, I told you need to follow me around.
No, I haven't. When I went to study, I had the grace and chance to go study over in Rome. So I spent sort of floating around their libraries and getting a chance to go into the Vatican every so often.
So you've been directly with the Vatican and such. Maybe not so much on the consultant side of things, but at least been there.
Yeah, I got access to their research and stuff.
Wow, amazing! That must be quite interesting in itself. I probably would be lost for days, weeks, months studying their stuff.
Yeah, I got. You only get about 1% you can go and check out because obviously I'm not Christian or Catholic or anything like that, so I was only allowed like access to certain bits.
It took ages for you to get the access,
yeah,
didn't it?
It took me a while to get that access. It took me nearly 3 years to be allowed to go and get that access.
Was it worth it?
God, yeah.
And JWoww, Jason is a member of my group. His wife is a founding member as well. Says Scott's been studying for Fedorology since he was 35.
Nice.
Maybe around there. And I don't have no idea what that entails, but no, I think I started wearing fedoras about, maybe around that. Boy, he knows me better than I know myself.
If you have to do your
Jay. What's that?
It's a biography for you.
That's what we need. Translation smarter than me. I don't know what that's about.
There's no thing of being an expert or anything like that. Everyone's as smart as each other in certain aspects.
Yes, couldn't agree with you more. And that's what makes a well-rounded team, or is people with different backgrounds, different education, different abilities and such. Like myself, I need equipment. I might get some basic gut feelings like, okay, something ain't right here. We shouldn't be here. But outside of that, I need equipment. Whereas a couple of members had all kinds of ability to see and sense and such. And probably our most educated member, Dale, he's traveled worldwide and all kinds of degrees in theology and things like that. And him and you, Ben, would probably have a wonderful conversation with each other about such things.
Nice.
So maybe one of these days I'll mention to him about getting a hold of you, maybe being on the other dimension. And speaking of the other dimension, you want to explain a little more about what that's about? You said it was paranormal related.
The other dimension, we do a few podcasts with it now. We started off with one show with our co-host Damon Penny. We now do quite a few shows. We have a main show on Friday.
That goes out on Pulse Talk Radio.
Then we have one. We have your Thursday show, don't we? Which is
my fortnightly show, which at the moment I'm doing a series looking at the history and uses of different forms of divination.
Oh.
And then on Sunday, I run a show for people, which is occult science and history, where we look into the sort of background of everything that is paranormal and look towards a more scientific basis for a lot of the stuff. So we go into like the quantum mechanics of the energy flows and stuff like that to explain and break down more and more to a simple algorithm for people to see more what it is.
Wow, amazing. It sounds like pretty in-depth stuff there on your shows. Now, you said that was on a different than Facebook. What was the other platform you use?
We're on a radio channel called Pulse Talk Radio.
Oh, is that local?
Yeah,
that's on Friday. No, you can pick it up on the internet. If you just type in Pulse Talk Radio on Google's engine or any of the search engines, it will bring you up and you'll be able to listen to us live on there.
Nice.
Although we've not been the past couple of weeks because we've had a few technical difficulties. So we've just been on Facebook only. But
I'm assuming that you can find the links to these on your Facebook page.
Yeah. If you go onto the Facebook pages, we have basically you can watch as you're watching now. So you'll be able to comment.
Yeah.
And you get to be more part of the show in a sense.
Oh, nice. Liverpool has a lot of paranormal activity. I've heard that.
There's quite a lot of cities in the UK that have a lot of activity.
You got everybody saying posh talk or pulse talk.
Sorry, it's the accents again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pulse Talk Radio.
Yeah. So this would be correct.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I wouldn't be able to speak with anybody that had that speaks in other languages. I only speak English, U.S. English, but I suppose there's translator tools and things like that. But that would make for a lot of confusion. Is there other languages you speak, or?
There's Ignotic, Theban, Arabic.
He's getting all fancy now.
It's
from his studies.
Egyptian, Sumerian.
More than you know. So that's what, 6 languages, 7 languages?
Yeah, then being able to read. I've got translation books for reading a load more as well. All in all, it's about 26 different languages.
Oh, my. That is something. Yes, I do speak Tidiut and
Nice.
My aunt and you would be able to. I don't think now you're being accused of showing off. I asked the question. I did ask the question. I allowed him to explain what he knows.
Yeah. Jeanette's a very good friend and student of ours, even though she doesn't know it, but she's a student of ours.
She'll learn that now. Oh, well, now she knows.
Yeah.
So, have you guys ever heard of Anchor FM? I think that's what it is. If not,
Anchor
I'll send
FM.
you. If not, I'll send you a link. And what it is, I'm on it. Actually, I will be pulling the audio off this show. I hope you guys don't mind, and
No, that's
putting
fine.
it on as a
No, by all
podcast.
means.
And right now we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm never sure if I want to put it on Twitter or Twitch. I keep jumping back and forth. But anyways, and JWoww has his show on there. He does nothing paranormal, but he does. He brings up older movies that might have been forgotten or such, and relives the tales of these movies and put them on his podcast. But anyways, I'll get you the link and you can look it over. And they pay you so much for being on theirs and such. So that's a topic for a different situation, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Jason says, I admire that he can speak multiple languages.
Yeah, you have to learn because the sort of branch of cultology and demonology I study, you have to know outside of obviously the Christian belief. So I do know a bit of Sanskrit when it comes to the Indian belief, the sort of Indian beliefs. And then obviously there's Buddhism, there's Hinduism, there's Sikhism, Judaism. So I need Hebrew as well. There's obviously Muslim for the Arabic, dealing with jinn. So there's quite a few different languages.
I speak Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Is that the same as my Kitty Hooten?
Yeah.
Little local. And she speaks, Angela speaks Codswallop.
Yeah.
Good.
That must be an inside joke. But
do you not use that saying over there?
No, it's a British saying. Speaking Codswallop.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what was it that I just recently learned from one of my past guests? That Bigfoot and such is not as relevant over in the UK as it is in our areas.
No. His name didn't happen to be Tristan, or did it?
Oh yeah, because he jumps on the show, didn't he, as a guest?
The guest. Oh my lord, she's gonna shoot me. White Light Paranormal. Claire. What's her name?
No, there's
it threw me off. I'm like, huh?
Sorry, buddy. Just mind go boom.
When it comes to Bigfoot, there's very, 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 very little sightings. There claims to be one in the UK in a place called Cannock Chase, which is a wooded area in the UK. It's the likelihood of it being a real one is very, very minimum due to the fact that there are massive main roads that go round it and through it, and it's a well-trodden area. It's only about
30 miles.
30 miles in diameter, pretty much.
What's that in kilometres?
6 kilometers to a mile, so...
What, 45?
Yeah,
45 kilometres, something like that. It's a 45 kilometre area.
So not a huge.
No, so I don't think there's anyone hiding in there. I think they would have been found.
So do you think that it's a real thing, Bigfoot?
I think in the UK, it's a no.
A myth, but the rest of the world, like over there.
The rest of the world has compelling evidence. The American states, for example, has growing evidence, and there's more evidence to corroborate that there is that sort of being out there.
Now, do you believe that it's more like the Native American lore, where it seems to be interdimensional and kind of spirit guide almost, or do you feel that it's just another humanoid type cryptid that just happens to be roaming around?
I think there's a sort of a clash, not a clash, but sort of like it can be both, because a spiritual entity for them, obviously, when you get the evidence, Bigfoot tends to randomly appear and randomly disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, America's littered with underground cave network systems. Even we know that in America, in England. So there's a chance that it could be what the class is the missing link could quite easily be out there using a cave system that we don't know of to move around. Obviously, you get it with the same with bears and sort of mountain lions and stuff out like that out there in your country as well.
Yeah, even in where I'm at, there's talk of Black Panthers possibly being around, and I've never seen one or anything, which really isn't that hard to believe because I don't make it to the woods very often. But I deal with a lot of hunters and such, and they all say they've never seen one. And this is a question I never thought of asking. Do you believe that Angela asked? Do you believe that Bessie exists? Is it that big of a deal over there that the Loch Ness and such is around?
Oh, Nessie.
Oh, Nessie.
Nessie.
Maybe that's who she's asked about. Angela up here still on? Is that who you're speaking of?
The Loch Ness monster.
Yeah,
Nessie.
There is quite a bit of compelling evidence to suggest that there is that possibility of a creature like that existing. Loch Ness for itself is ridiculously deep and ridiculously wide, with its own cave network system running off. So there is a very high possibility of a creature like that existing.
See, now that's weird because I watched a show and I'm sure you guys are probably aware of such a show where they drain down the water level, use sonar over what was left over. And they failed to mention that there's possibility of underground caves and things like that. That could be so.
I think there was a scientific show that showed that they had a hypothetical theory of draining it all, and then using this sonar. But even when they've done sonar blips, they've found that there is cave network systems inside the rock because basically the lining of Loch Ness is a mixture of limestone and sandstone. And they have found out that there is cave networks running off each direction.
Perhaps Bigfoot utilizes the Underground Railroad.
You never know.
But I think you're taking the Underground Railroad a little too literal.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Jeanette says we've heard rumors of big black cat near us. Someone we know says he saw it.
Yeah, black cats are a massive thing in the UK. I saw one myself when I was 14. They are highly documented, and police do know about them. It started back in the 1960s when there was a ban passed here about having exotic and illegal animals. A lot of people at the time released panthers, big cat animals out into the wild, and there is this thing that they are still out there breeding. Because of how the UK is, sheep can be attacked. We have deers roaming free and all that sort of stuff. So they are known to exist in more of the sort of moorland areas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got, things around here that I imagine takes out the sheeps and such, and I hope my competition goat that's 3 miles up the road for anybody with a black cat, is safe tonight. But so let's move on to another topic that a lot of people ask, and I ask you these things because people are used to the cookie cutter answers we get over here in the States. I don't think a lot of the people that are watching get a chance to see the other side of the country and their views. But what's your thoughts on UFOs? Real, not believable?
Coming from sort of the background I've come from with being ex-military, UFOs are a big thing in the UK, but they're not as publicized as you do in America. So, for example, over here we had the Rendlesham forest incident. It sort of was sort of our big case over here. So it's like sort of your Roswell, and but we do get a lot of UFO sightings more towards the north where we are, less towards the south. So yeah, UFOs are an accepted thing over in this country.
So there's not a lot of conspiracy behind them as over here. People around here say, "Oh, you know, they really can't tell many people over here because they're worried they'll be locked up or something."
Yeah, over here it's sometimes getting to like the local news and stuff. So it's not really, you won't get locked up for screaming, "I've seen a UFO." A lot of people will just go, either they're interested or they'll just go, just keep drinking and enjoy it.
Okay. And that's the way it should be, because I mean, in reality, think of all the space that's out there, literally. I mean, how vain would we be to believe that we're the only living organisms in this expansion of universe? It just seems weird to not believe that. I believe them more than I do Bigfoot. And even though I have some, I won't say I disbelieve in Bigfoot, but there's just not enough in my mind to show that there is Bigfoot.
There's a thing there's a thing that I've seen over here, and quite a few people have always said it. To believe that there's no life in the universe would be like taking a teaspoon of seawater and saying there's no life in the sea.
Right. Well, yes, that's a good way to look at it. You guys ever thought about trying to go to Area 51?
Not likely, because I'll probably get shot.
You'd be trying to go to places that they're saying no.
Yeah, there'd probably be an international incident with an ex-squaddy trying to break into a military base.
Yeah.
You'd be okay. Rose asks, wasn't a believer in UFOs until I experienced seeing them. Feel free to elaborate if you want, Rose.
Yeah.
I always love a good story. Hey, wait a minute. That's my line, Mr. Fedor. I'm not sure what line you're talking about. And even if I did, I wouldn't say it anyways. And Jeanette agrees. So yeah, it's and then there's also a lot of people don't hear about is UFOs. You know, where it's
submerged UFOs.
Right. See, now we have a dam around here that a lot of people swear there's a lot of UFOs around. The Kinzua Dam, the UFO line. And there's a lot of people that speak of Bigfoot around those areas and such too. It's where they put the dam is a lot of Native American land from over here. Actually, I don't know if you ever heard of Johnny Cash, but he sang a song about that dam. The song was "As Long as the Grass Shall Grow." If you guys ever get bored, feel free to listen to it. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube pretty easy.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Dulce, New Mexico. He's Native American, and he says the same place down there, that the Dulce down there, there's lots of UFO sightings and supposedly a UFO alien base inside the sort of the mountain down there as well.
See, now I need to do some more traveling to places like that so I could have more interesting stories to tell people. And Mr. Consultant says just a random Leaffoot sighting in the area. Little joke on that is our other co-founder, Lee. He is never on these shows. He very little on shows, actually, to the point where people thought we were making him up. And then we've seen him on one of our shows, and we've seen in the comments, wait, he's real? So Matt there started calling him Leefoot because he's as elusive as Bigfoot.
Nice.
And so that's where that comes about. So you got Leefoot and Mr. Fedora. It's funny that people on the internet sure love to give people nicknames.
Yeah.
But of all the nicknames I could have got, I'm okay.
Yeah, there's worse ones out there.
That's for sure. I've been blessed that everybody's been really good to me. Rose says, line of lights, 5 of them in perfect line over my house. They memorized me, and they all went off dark at the same time. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. That's that would definitely catch my attention, that's for sure. The only UFO Scott ever saw was when a gust of wind blew his fedora off his head. All right, guys, we're laying thick on the fedora tonight.
That's right.
Hey, Angela, thanks for stopping in, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can catch the rest of this later on replay if you want. And speaking of that, if you guys don't mind me saying, if you got a moment, type in hashtag Team Live if you're watching live now. If you're catching this on replay, type in hashtag replay, Team Replay, for that way I know if you guys are watching live or during the replay. Let's see what team you play for. So now that we got that out of the way.
Well, no, you're on live, honey.
No, I mean when we do our shows, because that gets confusing when I'm getting comments from a previous show like 2 weeks ago going,
what? Then you got to go back and figure out what was going on. But yeah, that's why I like asking people to put Team Live or Team Replay, so I kind of have an idea where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And it also lets me know if I should keep the shows up or, let them go to the wayside or not. Oh, I used to harp on Matt all the time. I haven't said this in some time. So what I used to do was get on his case because he would say nothing to help promote himself. So I would say, well, by the way, if you're finding any value in this, please hit the subscribe button and like. Something along those lines. Yeah, I think people are moving away from that on social media, those call to action things, because they work, but it just seems like you're really getting pushy sometimes.
Yeah.
Team
Team Live. Yeah.
Team half asleep. Let's add that in there.
Yeah.
And I also
harassed, too bad.
I also harassed Matt for duck lips for thumbnails because I was doing his thumbnails for him for a little bit, so I'd pose, But that's I'm surprised they haven't brought up cupcakes yet. My granddaughter makes cupcakes, and
nice.
Yeah. See, I was 2 seconds quicker. And she happened to be on the live stream where she came up and asked. She knew Lee was watching and asked what kind of cupcakes he wanted, so she could get him some. And of course, everybody that was on the chat went on saying they wanted cupcakes. Can't PM this live feed to my husband. Private message. I'm not sure how to do that, Angela. Just should be able to click share and copy the URL.
You should be able to just copy the link straight into Messenger.
Yeah. I think that's how you should be able to do. So we've talked about Bigfoot. We've talked about aliens. We've yet to speak about any kind of ghost hunting. But before we get to that side of things, what do you... Well, maybe it's kind of a lead way into it. What do you think of things that are kind of outside of the Bigfoot cryptid side, like Mothman, Jersey Devil, those kind of sightings?
Oh, like the Thunderbirds, Jersey Devil, Chupacabra from down South Country. I know a lot of cryptids. I was mad on them when I was a bit younger. Not so much most of the American ones. I was a bit more towards worldwide ones. I reckon there is a possibility because obviously we've not discovered anywhere near all the animals that are in this planet, never alone the seas and stuff like that. a lot of America, for example, is wide open spaces, isn't it? So there's the possibility these things could exist and go without documentation for a long time.
Definitely. Yeah, in my little general area here, we don't have a lot of cryptid other than Bigfoot. And I'm probably going to get all kinds of hate mail. People saying, "What do you mean you don't remember this and you don't remember that?" But I don't remember anything major. The closest thing that I've heard of outside of Bigfoot is somebody speaking of a demon monkey. I don't know quite what that involved, but something about a monkey appeared in their black backyard and was kind of red glowing eyes and such. So that's, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting story, that's for sure. But the strange thing is I never seen the person again. It was like a one-time deal. I seen the person and never seen them again. I thought, hopefully that monkey didn't get him. And JWoww wants to know, what are Thunderbirds?
The Thunderbird is, I can't remember which tribe. It's a Native American myth of a giant bird-like creature, pretty much towards the looking more like a flying dinosaur, a pterodactyl is the word I was looking for. There's been a few sightings down towards, I think it was Texas originally. There's a photo on the internet that does exist that is dated back from, I think it was the very late 1800s, where they not 1800s, 1900s even. No, it was 1800s. I'm getting stuff mixed up. I apologize on that one.
Well, you got so much going on in your mind. It's hard.
Yeah, it's remembering facts and stuff that I've picked up over the years.
We're not too worried about facts here. If it's a good story, we're good with it.
There is a photo of a group of men that said to have shot one of the Thunderbirds. You can find it on Google or anything like that. But the stories of the Thunderbirds are on there. They're more towards the Native American myths, same as their myths going along with the Bigfoot. And other spiritual beings. You tend to drift towards more when you go to look for them. It tends to drift quite quickly onto Skinwalker Ranch and places like that.
Yeah, and that's one location that a couple people I know want me to go with them to, is the Skinwalker Ranch. Maybe one of these days. But Matt,
I would say good luck. A friend of mine, well, an acquaintance that I used to know, he worked out there as security. He'd done 2 tours in Afghanistan, and he said he'd rather do that than do security at Skinwalker Ranch.
Really? Wow. That's quite the statement.
Yeah.
Matt says that, I was asking if that's one of the monkeys that got loose in his hometown, which has happened about maybe a month ago. A semi rolled over and like 10 or 12 monkeys got loose. That for some reason this semi was hauling monkeys to a lab, and it rolled over, and I think all but one got accounted for. There might still be one running around.
Yeah, that's all it takes, though, isn't it, to start it off?
Right. And it's better down in the middle of the state than up towards me. Do you watch Balls of Steel or The Chase, or that weird blonde guy that says potato weird? No?
Don't watch Balls of Steel. I know of The Chase. Yeah. The weird guy. Well, depending where you are in the UK, potato gets said differently. Up here, we call it a tater.
Or a spud.
Down south, like where Damon, our other host on the other dimension, he calls it a potato.
Yeah.
Potato.
A potato.
As you get towards more the south of our country, they tend to speak more as you see them in films with the beautiful Queen English.
Yeah, but it's Cockney.
Yeah, Cockney.
That's
terrible language.
Like there's this one show that I love watching. Funny. I believe it's called Mrs. Brown's Boys or something like that.
Yeah.
That sometimes she gets a little hard to make out what they're saying on that show.
I think he's Irish.
That's Irish.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's Irish.
Yeah, okay, because that makes sense because there's a new Medea movie out on Netflix, and he was part of it, and they said the family came from Ireland. I'm sorry, I'm getting my European.
No, that's fine. The further you go up pretty much the British Isles, the more the accent comes out. So we're sort of on par with the Irish accent. You just start hearing the twinge. We've also then, as you go up towards, say, Liverpool, it's quite thick in Liverpool. And then
you got to Newcastle.
Yeah,
it
Newcastle
changes again.
Yeah, it goes on to more the Scottish accent, which it starts getting more.
Newcastle, you don't really call Scottish.
It's not Scottish accent. Sort of
it's
goes
just
from
as
that
strong.
way, yeah.
So what's the hardest accent in America that you guys have a hard time understanding?
I don't know. I never really got on with people from New York, but I wouldn't really class them as American. They're more than their own selves.
New York isn't too much further from my accent, I wouldn't believe, because I was raised in part of New York.
Yeah.
Not the city. Now, so you're thinking of New York City, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've been to Manhattan. They're their own species in Manhattan.
That is
no offense to anyone that's watching, but a friend of mine, a very, very good friend of mine, used to be a lawyer out there. He come from England to go over there to be a lawyer, and he had the same accent as me, and he said it was terrible trying to understand this, as everyone just looked weirdly at you whenever you asked for anything.
See, now the hardest for myself to understand of anybody speaking English here is true Southern. I keep coming up with the word gumbo, Louisiana and such.
Yeah,
now they got some Korean language is kind of mixed between English and French, and it's hard sometimes.
I'd say for anyone that wants to see how bad our accent can get from where we are, is if you watch a show called David Clarkson.
What are you about, Lee?
The Farm.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson's farm show. He has a Yorkshire lad on there that I can understand perfectly fine, but his accent is a proper, what we class over as a farmer's accent, and every fourth word is English.
I'll have to look that up.
Farmers over here, they all kind of, no matter whereabouts in the country they are, the farmers all tend to have a similar accent. Yeah. And if you go to like the older farmers especially, try and understand them, you're just like...
No, I understand. I definitely understand that. My great grandmother is on a dairy farm, and I get into talking to some of the old timers there, and it's like I have to think about what they're saying.
Yeah,
different slang and terms.
Like we have the word "nah" for stuff.
Nah.
Nah.
This is about the monkeys. The truck hit the dump truck, and they ended up getting them all. Not that the dump truck ran them all over. They caught all the monkeys. And hardest accent in America is my last name, which my understanding comes over from Scotland and such. My father ancestry is from that way. And Creole is a hard language to understand. It's kind of a French-American, deep Southern accent. So now that we discussed about accents and things totally not paranormal related, let's bring it into paranormal related a little bit. When you guys do any type of investigations, well, I guess I never really truly asked, do you guys go to cases like paranormal teams do, like my team would do, because you guys are consultants?
Yeah, we get invited on a lot of teams, don't we?
Yeah, we get invited along. Sometimes what we'll do is just go for fun and not tell them that we know anything about paranormal. That's always fun, because if you go there and pretend to be a newbie, we enjoy that.
Yeah, but we get caught out a few times by people.
Yeah, because then something will happen. It'll be like, right.
But we know teams all the way up and down the UK, so we work with a lot of teams
Now, do you find yourself using like just English for your questions and such, or do you find ways to try to figure out what language they speak and find a way to try to flip over to that somehow?
I've done it a few occasions where I've not used English. I've used different languages. I've used Latin a few times to talk due to the fact that Latin, obviously, many years ago in the UK and Europe, Latin was the main language because obviously the Catholic Church was main control in Europe. So Latin became one of the dominant languages. And we've had success with that before, depending on how old the spirit is.
Well, I imagine it catches their attention if it's something they don't hear all the time.
Yeah.
And I've done it before, and not on every case, but I take out Google Translate or Google Conversation. Use that as a tool to speak whatever language that we found out was there. And speaking of Latin, we were getting nothing at this place pretty much the whole night until I said hello and a couple other basic words in Latin, and all of a sudden we started getting conversation rolling. So I can see where that would work, where you were speaking it, and that might be something I'll encourage you guys to use, is Google Conversation to kind of see if that will, like, say if you're someplace where a family spoke Italian or such, you could break that out.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea to use.
Because not all of us have like 26 languages in our head.
I've got a book with a lot of it wrote down, like base words that can jog my memory on certain languages.
Nice. And you carry that with you on a regular? Nice.
See, my little book that he takes with him with many things.
Yeah, my famous little black book that sweet.
Yeah.
Whenever that comes out, a lot of paranormal groups that we used to work with tend to panic a little bit when they see that come out because it means something's amiss. Oh,
really? So you don't just use that for basic. If something's catching your attention, you'll take that out. So that's good to know. And that goes to getting familiar with your teammates, is little idiosyncrasies like that.
Yeah,
able to pick up on. Where unfortunately for you guys, in some cases, I imagine going with new teams, that could be a hindrance.
Yeah, not so much.
I don't mean that in a negative.
It can be, yeah. Luckily, by the time we're about halfway through the night, a lot of people have guessed usually who we are, and they've suddenly realised, they've put two and two together. I think one of the main problems we have is if I have a bit of a reputation. So if I happen to just walk out the room for anything, the whole group will suddenly panic and walk out the room because I've walked out the room.
It's more funny when you just run off.
Yeah.
Like, it could be in the woods or something, and he'll just stop, stare, and then just shoot off. He's run off after something.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone turns to me, they're like, what's he doing? It's like, it's all right. We'll just carry on wandering this way. And then we'll just meet up with him further down.
Well, and people would be suspicious if I left like that too, not for the reasons that you are. They're just worried that I'm going to pull some kind of prank on them.
A lot of people with us, it's usually a case of I've seen something and that
now he's chasing after it.
Part of them want to follow me, but there's a big part of them that usually goes and looks at Lou as if to go, should we go or should we just stay where it's safe?
Well, you guys obviously know each other to where they know if they ask her, you should know if he's going into something dangerous or not.
Yeah. Depends who we're with. Sometimes I'll just like hang back with them and just say, it's fine. Other times we're like, we'll go the safer way, like not through all the brambles and the broken trees and everything. We'll find a better path.
No doubt.
And just meet up and he can just tell you what's gone off.
No doubt. And Matt says I do the same thing, Ben.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. In my group, we don't have that. We had one member. Unfortunately, she passed on. She was very sensitive and could see a lot of things and so forth. So she would be the one that would be prone to leave, and not because she's chasing anything dangerous. She's more like she was more like a curious soul and just wanted to go see what was going on. So, but now it's we're all pretty much one group where we go. So interesting. Speaking of woods and such, do you guys have a lot of haunted wooded areas or?
Yeah.
The
UK is massive for them. There is a lot of woods like that around the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
As famous and big as the suicide forest in Japan, or nothing?
Nowhere near as big as that. The suicide forest is obviously that's massive compared to most of the forests in the UK. The Sherwood Forest is.
That's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Sherwood Forest is a bit more sort of blotchy around the UK. We don't have vast areas of it.
It was huge, but then a lot of it got
Yeah.
taken down for the motorways, for housing estates, because at one point it did actually used to stretch up to actually where we are now, but they've chopped it back, so it's now a couple miles over that way. Yeah.
And I mean, like you guys were saying earlier, the land mass is not very large, so they have to accommodate the people and the population growth. So, unfortunately, that's the habits of being human. So, do you believe that some of the things that were in the forest that was haunting, made it a haunted forest, for lack of better words? Do you think that's now dwelling in these homes and such that were being built?
Yeah, you get a hell of a lot of that
It's a
in
bit
the
of
UK.
both, isn't it?
Yeah. You find that a lot of hauntings that you get in the UK when it comes to houses are usually either built on old or near old Roman burial grounds, Viking burial grounds, plague pits.
You're painting a lovely picture here. Come to the UK, it's lovely.
Yeah, old abandoned church areas.
But then you've got even like we talk about the forests and stuff.
Yeah.
You've got your nature spirits that might not be happy about what's gone off. And
See, now I believe you guys have more belief in fairies or fae folk, or however that you guys.
We've got a lot of folk tales.
It's more towards
them, and
where the states we read things in the books. I'm sorry,
but it's. We have more what's known as elementals over in the UK.
Yeah, I've heard such things. We don't have that. Like you guys have banshees and such too, right? And Wendigos, is that your area or is that different areas?
The Wendigo Banshee is a bit further down south. It's in a whole area. We get, because of obviously the UK's broke up into Ireland, Wales, Scotland, England.
Right.
Then you've got the English Isles. So you've got like the Isle of Man, Isle of Wight, New Jersey, Guernsey. They've all got their own little sort of old folklores. It can get really, really complicated. You could basically write an entire book that'd be about 4 foot high with the amount of different spiritual entities and all that you get in the UK.
But then a lot of them, they could be referring to the same thing, but in different parts of the UK, they'll all have different names.
Nice.
Like Bigfoot in the US.
Right.
Depending on region, depends on the name.
Right. We get Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yetis, So I didn't ask this, and I don't know if it ever came up, but you guys haven't written a book, have you?
Everyone,
no.
literally
everyone wants him to write a book.
Yeah, every single show we go on, and every single person asks me if I've wrote a book. I haven't yet. I'm slowly getting round to writing one. The Sunday show that we mentioned at the beginning is where I teach more. So I'm only just getting to the stage where I can start putting a book together for people through the lessons that I do for teaching.
Well, at least I'm not original.
Yeah.
No, just the idea popped in my head, and I was just kind of curious before we got too far. Because if you did, then I'd be happy to. I'd be happy that you would share the information on the show. Good morning.
If I do, I'll.
Good morning, Ant.
I bet he's just come back from the pub.
Fancying a pint. Now, morning. It's 8:39. What time is it there?
1:39.
Yeah, 1:39 in the morning.
Oh boy, I really appreciate you guys being on.
Jeanette's still awake. I thought Jeanette might have gone to sleep, but Jeanette's still here.
Appreciate everybody being on.
No.
Especially this time of night. And that's my next guest. Next week, we're going to be going to the retired Navy ship USS North Carolina to do an investigation. And then the following week, I agreed to do a show on Sunday with with Claire Clifford. And I believe she's close to Sheffield, PA. Or UK. And she says so far. So if you guys haven't, well, that's not the one I meant to bring up, but that's okay. Ant says it's okay as I only average 3 hours sleep a night anyways. Yeah, that's not a good pattern. So far, and that sounds good, Ben. I believe everybody from your neck of the woods that are on, and all my regulars are sleeping for me. But so you guys have not touched, and I have not asked many questions about hauntings. Is there any one in particular you guys want to speak of, or?
There's loads in the UK. There's loads that we deal with. It's quite hard to just pick out a few, to be honest.
Well, let's start off with, and I'm asking for personal experiences. What's the one that you guys found you had the most laughs at? Like, what was the most entertaining, humorous one that you guys been on?
I'd have to say Forest Dean.
Which part?
Quite interesting.
That one, what? When I didn't know if it was a bore or.
Yeah.
No, that goes to more scary, honey. Not funny. I didn't laugh.
I found it funny. She found it scary.
Yeah, I didn't know if we're going to get chased down by a wild boar or if it was some other great angry spirit. So I didn't know if I was going to get eaten or not. You know.
Either way, not good. You're saying boar as in wild pig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
That wasn't funny to me, honey.
It was to me.
You weren't laughing at the time. You were saying, let's get out of here.
It was still giving me a bit of a chuckle on the way out.
No doubt.
Forest Dean is quite a large area of wooded land near, just between the England and Wales border. We was down there for a paranormal night with...
Not just a night, the whole weekend.
Oh no, it was a whole weekend.
It was a weekend of paranormal.
With a group called HD Paranormal. And they'd set up a fire pit out in one of the woods for telling stories and that lot. And we've been out there prior in the day.
Yeah.
And then at the sort of late at night, we thought, oh, we'll have a wander down and just sit around this fire.
Yeah, about midnight, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we heard a few little noises and stuff. Obviously, heighted area for paranormal activity, so we sort of question it a bit. I've spent many years out in the countryside, so I tend to know the difference between animal noises and different sort of noises. And we heard this god awful crash, as if something could fell about 20 foot through a load of trees. My ears sort of pricked up like like a dog's in a sense.
Your ears sort of pricked up. No, I went, what?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
You sort of went, oh crap, what's that?
Yeah.
Um,
Because, like you say, wild boars are known
Yeah.
in the area, didn't want to get eaten.
And they're
Yeah.
vicious.
you could feel the sort of the atmosphere changed. It became very heavy, and
Yeah.
it was at that point my mind's still going, if this is a wild boar, we're screwed, because
Get a big stick.
you can't do much to a wild boar. They are
Right.
I don't know if you have them in America
do.
much, but you need like a 50 cal rifle just to bring one down.
Yeah.
In the UK, obviously, we don't have firearms, so I'd be there with just a brick trying to beat. If it was a wild boar and it charged us, I'd have to beat it somehow with a brick, which would not go down well for me.
They don't travel in packs there.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. A lot of the times you do find singular ones with families.
A lot of times here in the States, they travel 4 or 5 or more.
Yeah.
And so you get one, you got them all coming at you. So yeah, I understand why you guys are definitely concerned.
Yeah. So we withdrew quite quickly.
We left quite quickly. I didn't know if it was a wild creature or if it was like something else had dropped in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, James.
Yeah,
James is from Canada.
Nice. A lot of people that night had sort of the same experience, so we kind of crossed it off as being a boar and probably something else.
Yeah, I didn't find it funny though.
I did.
What I found funny was
thank you, Rose.
Because when we're on investigations, Ben always wears dark, and he kind of just disappears into the blackness. And I thought, because at one point you were stood next to me, I thought you were still stood next to me. Turns out it was a spirit, and I was about to go and grab the spirit's bum.
I don't think
being a little bit cheeky.
So
I thought that was funny, because then when the lights came on and suddenly Ben wasn't there, it's like
a lot of people in the room also sort of freaked out a little bit as to why I wasn't there. I was suddenly sat on the opposite side of the room.
Ant says, yeah, I'm the same as country born and bred myself, so I'm used to all the sounds of nature, especially in woodlands. And honestly, I actually love just strolling around outdoors more than being inside buildings. Yeah, I could definitely understand that feeling. That's why I kind of enjoy what I do driving bus, is I get to see a little bit of everything. You know, I'm not just stuck inside. My bus route's about 24 miles one way, so yeah, I get to see a little bit of the area.
Nice.
Most days it's good. Winter storms and such, it is a little more risky, a little more touchy. But so why do you wear all dark?
It's just because I happen to
confuse people.
Yeah, I just happen to have black shirts, and
so there's no particular reason other than that's what you own.
No, you like to confuse people. You like to just disappear.
I like to disappear a bit. It also, I've found over the years, if you wear dark clothing when you're on a paranormal night, even spirits seem to misjudge where you're stood because you tend to blend into more of the background.
Okay. Well, I've heard some people say the different colors are better for investigations than others. Especially the darker, it seems to be more better for paranormal investigations. Do you guys feel like I've asked other people this, and I've generally gotten the same answer. I have mixed feelings on being called paranormal investigator as opposed to a ghost hunter.
Yeah, paranormal investigator is more of the research side. I'd say ghost hunter is more what you do on TV.
Not too far from what I normally hear. But it says, have you seen someone on your bus in the mirror, then realize there's no one actually there? Not quite to that degree. I'll give you a situation here in a second. Jeanette says it's to make people jump on an investigation. So to finish up the thought about paranormal investigator and ghost hunter, my personal thing is paranormal investigator to me means you're investigating everything paranormal, UFOs, Sasquatch, cryptids, everything. Where to me, ghost hunter is where you're more into just the spirits and ghost side of things. That's my take on it. But I seem to be one of the few to invest in that thought. I guess people feel the same way if you start saying ghost hunter and such. You think of TV shows, you think of people not being as serious and such. And I'm good with that. I understand that line of thinking. As far as being on a bus goes, but the weirdest thing I've seen or heard, pretty much is what I heard was random whistling on the bus, like somebody whistling, which really wouldn't surprise me if it's my old boss that passed away, because he would always walk around and kind of whistle to himself and such. So that wouldn't surprise me if it's him checking on the buses. Now, the garage of the building kind of got me one night. I'd only been working there not very long, less than a year, I believe. And we have little buses that we do dinner runs and such for the seniors to go shopping and such. And I happened to be on a dinner run that night. So it was just me and one of my coworkers out, female. And I'm washing the bus with a pressure washer in the garage. And the phone rings on the wall. It's late at night, not a big deal. But it keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. And after the seventh or whatever number ring, it would should kick over to a voicemail answering machine. I never did. It rang for like 40 times. And I'm like, nah, I'm not touching that phone.
Yeah, I don't think I would at that point.
And then, there's about 40 buses in this garage. And well, maybe about 20. But anyways, on the other side of the garage, I hear like one of the horns going off, not like a full out blast, but you know how you're like give a little tap on your horn to say hello to a friend or whatever. It was that kind of situation. And it was like, I know I was I believed I was the only one there. I'm like, okay. So I'm washing the bus and it does it again. I'm like, and I need to go check for the safety of my job, for my workplace. So I go around, nothing. And so I go back to clean the bus. I heard a louder horn honk and the door closed on the bus. I'm like, so I go and look again, which the only reason why I didn't leave at that point is because I knew my female coworker was going to be coming in anytime, and I didn't want to leave her in a building where there might be possibly somebody in.
Yeah.
So after that, I didn't find nobody. I went back. The horns went on a couple buses, and then I didn't hear nothing more. So that was kind of an interesting night there. That was before I was doing paranormal investigations. So I think now I would take a different approach to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And now I lost track of where we were going. But yeah, and I feel bad, and I'll formally apologize to the person standing on the side of the road. If you ever have a chance of watching this is my formal apology. It was one morning, like just daybreak, very foggy, very in the middle of nowhere. This guy or person, I don't even know if it was a guy, just happened to randomly pop up on the side of the road. And yeah, it was just me on the bus, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't seem legit. This seems a little. So I drove on by. So I apologize if you were late to work or anything that day. Mysterious stranger in the fog. But you had my radar going up. So actually, I just got done. What put that frame of mind is I just got done reading a book, The 21 Lessons of Merlin.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you just carried on driving then, yeah.
It was literally freshly in my mind. I had done got done reading it about maybe a week before that. And I'm like, nope, sorry. And yeah, the wheels on the bus. Sure, Matt. Thanks for bringing that up again. And it says, is the bus garage an old building or is it on old land where some other buildings may have stood? I'm not sure about the history of the land. There was a factory in the building and they repurposed it. And I heard the owner of that building passed away, the owner of the company. So possibly that's why it's right along the river. So the energy from the water is probably helping it as well. Because we've gotten other things, because that's where we hold our meetings in the boardroom there. And we had some new people we were bringing onto the team, and we were showing them equipment, and all of a sudden the equipment started going off. And so the EMF detector started getting hits, and we even got a pretty good EVP that night of somebody whistling. It's on the page, but anyways, you could hear where it sounds like somebody's walking up to us as we're talking about the equipment, and we're like demonstrating, okay, you hear that kicked on, an air vent kicked on to cool the building. So we were doing that, and you could hear like somebody comes up, walking up, whistling, and you could hear it fade away. But one of the people we were showing the equipment to disappeared. That got too scared to do anything more. So probably good that she learned there. Otherwise, she might have been on a case and been in some trouble. Near water, that's a great energy source. Yeah, definitely. Definitely running water seems to be a natural conductor of energy. There's a few spots around here local that we've picked up activity in. It's less than 100 yards from a river, creek, or whatever you want to call. So now I asked about the most entertaining section, and you guys mentioned the boar. Is there any case that you've been on? And now, mind you, I understand if there's cases that you can't speak of, that's fine. But is there any cases that you've been on where you just like shut down on the spot, said that's it? Nope, this is not a place for us to be right now.
Right after me.
Seen if you've got any before.
Well, I was running away from the boar. That was scary. I didn't want to be there.
Sat down the case right then and there.
Have you had any?
It's only when you say, "Oh dear, let's leave," because well, it's not so much that we've shut the case on it. There's just the woods near us, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
The entities there didn't want us there. We weren't prepared for them to be there because we'd gone up there because the story of the village is that in this woods there's a pond and there's a white lady that gets seen there. So we just wandered up. Let's have a little stroll one evening. And just to see if we could see if there's any truth to this story. Not really expecting much. We didn't see the white lady. Instead, we were greeted by other beings, and because we weren't prepared for them being there, so we'd not taken anything with us. It's just up the road from where we live, and we're like, we shall leave now. Well, Ben said, I think we best get going.
It was a bit of a Mexican standoff for a while.
Oh boy! Did you go back?
We've not been back in the night time so much. We got up to the edge one night and we saw these same spirits appear at the edge, and it was a kind of okay, we will back down from this one this time.
But yeah, we're going to go up again soon.
Yeah.
See how things have gone up there, because there's been activities happening up there. In the daytime though, it's got a completely different feel to it.
Well, definitely. I mean, I don't know that, but I when I say definitely, I understand from experience myself.
So you get people like walking through there, having the walk with the dogs. Yeah. But yeah, as soon as it gets to like dusk and the sun's gone down,
do you believe
these other beings seem to come out?
Do you believe it's intelligent?
They are intelligent, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had full-blown conversations with them through equipment as well as other means.
Yeah.
This is probably the second time in my entire life I've stood somewhere and gone, we need to move. We need to withdraw from this.
In fact, we weren't expecting it though.
Yeah.
We were just going up there expecting to see, this white lady that hangs around near this pond.
Yeah.
Do you believe that most cases you go to, if you're not expecting something, that's when you find stuff? Or
yeah, I've been to a few cases over the years, and we've been to a few cases where we've bumped into things where we've gone, wasn't expecting that, and we've carried on investigating with the groups we've been with and stuff like that. And it's been, that's fine, but this has to be one of the rare occasions. Well, to put it in perspective, the only other time I've turned around and gone, right, that's it, we're going, was in the catacombs in France, in Paris.
Oh boy, yeah.
Me and a few friends that were out there at the time hooked up with some local guys. I was out there for doing a university study. We went into the catacombs, and again, the atmosphere changed, and something was you could see moving further down. And we're all seasoned people, and went, we're not going any further. We're turning around and walking back.
Yeah, I've heard so much about the catacombs that, I don't think I'd care to even be there myself. I would, depending on, like you said, the guide, I might, but even then. And that sounds interesting, Ant. The story is very similar to a local story in Robin Woods, near where I grew up, the pool, the lady, etc.
Yeah.
And paranormal consultant says, any plans on coming to the US? And if so, where? There you go. You guys can fly to me. I'm not flying to you guys.
Yeah. We've not really looked into going over to the US that much, to be honest. Not yet, have we?
No, yeah. I mean, we would like to go at some point, but there's no sort of plans set at the moment.
I was about to say no interest.
Lots of interest.
We'd like to come.
We've only just started connecting with people in America, because obviously we've been dealing more with like Europe and places like that. But yeah, I think we do have a plan of coming over at least.
But we've got to get the wedding out the way first. Yeah. Getting married.
Congratulations.
Then we're having the honeymoon. And then we can start making other plans.
Yeah. Why don't you guys go on the honeymoon here in Gettysburg?
We've got quite a few places in America. People are all like, yeah, come over, have your honeymoon here. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I wasn't offering my backyard. I was saying Gettysburg.
I won't mind coming over to Gettysburg. There's some things there that do interest me as well.
Gettysburg, I was there twice now, and it's okay. It's okay. I feel my personal belief is the place has been so saturated with tourism that I think I believe that a lot of the energy that was there was almost robbed from it.
Yeah. But
there's still activity there. Don't let me naysay it. Matt. Yeah. September 26th and 27th. I have no idea what he's talking about. I think he's just like spamming me for one of his shows or something. No. Okay. I will informally invite you, though it doesn't sound like you'll be able to make it this year. Matt has set up a Para Unity Day where I always say Danbury, Pennsylvania. It's the Pennsylvania State Fair down there, where all paranormal teams are invited to come join us a day at the fair and food, and then we will be traveling to Gettysburg. to
Nice.
Okay.
Bloomsbury. It's close to Dansbury or Doonbury or whatever berry. That there is where it's at.
Okay.
Nice.
So if you guys do make your way to the States, you're more than welcome. September 26th and 27th. I was thinking maybe in 23, you guys might be able to make it then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
Yeah, because like I say, we've got a wedding coming up this year that we're planning because that's happening on the 5th of November. Yeah, so we're just kind of planning that, and then we're obviously doing like all our normal stuff as well. It's a busy year, it seems, at the moment. So maybe next year might be good.
You could take your honeymoon in the honeymoon capital of the world, or at least in the United States, is Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then you could stay at the Haunted Radisson on Grand Island outside of Niagara Falls and have a fun time. I was just there over this past weekend. That's why I knew about that. Went to this hotel, knew it was supposedly haunted, but they didn't know why we were there. We just figured we'll grab our equipment, get the room, and then hang out, me and my girlfriend. And they ended up putting us, without asking for it, put us in room 666.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing a live you doing the other week, wasn't it? Yeah.
We did not ask for this room. We're like, oh, that's a coincidence. They're so superstitious they didn't even put it on the wall. So we went 664, 668. This door here is either a broom closet or our room.
we have that in the UK. Every single hotel in the UK, not one of them has a room 13.
Oh, really? I didn't even check to see if they had a 13.
I don't know if it's the same in the States, but if you check every single hotel, you'll never find a room 13.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably the case here. I just never purposely went and looked for either 666 or 13. I just never thought, it never crossed my mind. Matt says next year I'm planning something big for Para-Unity Day.
Nice.
Probably to come visit Mr. Fedora. I mean, that's pretty big. Ant says, me personally have been on a few investigations where others have been bloody scared and wanted to leave the area or have just left, yet I always stay to see if and what I could do, maybe to help the spirits, but as yet never been too scared to carry on. However, my first ever time seeing a ghost just over 40 years ago was still the only time I have messed my pants. With a chocolate ice cream emoji. That's what that originally was the chocolate ice cream, but people were not using it for that. So
yeah.
Jason says, listen to Scott pimp out spots he's been to. Next mention, Guernsey Hollow.
Nice.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but now that you do. A little local cemetery that has all kinds of activity. The only place that I've actually seen full body apparitions, like solid, we believe they were. There's always that little room of they're real people, but middle of nowhere, wrought iron fence surrounding it, one exit, and we were at it Sunday afternoon, middle of the day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It looked like a lovely young couple just got done with church and visiting relatives, and they walked off to the side of the wood side of the cemetery, and we could see the whole cemetery from the hill, all but this little sliver. And they walked where there was no exit, 5.5 foot wrought iron fence with the pointy top.
Yeah.
And when we got up there, they were just not there anymore. Now, there's a possibility they could have jumped that fence in their Sunday finest. Went through the woods.
I highly doubt that.
Right. But there's still that possibility. So,
yeah.
But I feel that we went in 2 vehicles, and both vehicles were saying, hey, there's people up there. Watch where you're taking pictures. Be respectful. Let people do what they do. And this is one time I wish we wouldn't been so polite, because Would have been nice to get it on camera. Jeanette says you watched that. The 666 show. Thank you if you did. If not, you can catch it for team replay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that show. That was a fun show. Being out there at the Radisson. I was surprised the story of that place is supposedly just supposed to be a little girl spirit, but we're, I believe, getting male spirits coming over it as well, the spirit box. So that was interesting. And Jason says because the only place he's been to. Yeah, that's what's going on. Also, Ant says also worked with Ben before, where Ben and myself sorted out the situation basically because no one else either wanted to or was getting too scared.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a while ago. That was now.
Okay, cool. Jeanette, I appreciate you watching. I love when people watch and tell us. It makes it feel like we're not out here just talking to, well, in this situation, each other, which would be fun. But times where we're just talking to a screen, it's like, anybody really watching?
Yeah.
Rose says Guernsey is supposed to be connected to an old Indian burial ground at the fire. Yes, I'm not 100% sure how much truth there is that, but there was a lot of that's part of the Indian Seneca Indian was all throughout that part of the area up there in New York and here in PA. Now, speaking of people being scared and such to go and finish investigations and such, how would you recommend those that are just getting into the field? What would you recommend to do in situations where you're just getting that scared?
Calmly withdraw from a situation.
Don't run.
Yeah, don't run. Don't go into panic or anything like that. Just
ideally it'd be with someone who's like been on investigations before. Not just go out randomly by yourself for the first time.
Go on a few first, get used to how things work, get used to the atmosphere that you'll be in before doing it yourself. It's the best sort of possible way you can do it.
So if they come across a situation that they're not comfortable with, you recommend just taking yourself from the situation. And of course, if you're there with a team or other people, let them know you're leaving as well.
Yeah, and they might be able to calm you a bit as well. They might be able to put your mind at ease if it is something that they know about.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to experienced teams and people that's been in the field for a while. Do you feel that they should trust their instinct and leave, or do you think they should just push through?
Depends on the situation. If every fiber of your body and your gut is telling you to withdraw, then withdraw. Calmly and respectfully withdraw. Don't. The problem is nowadays when it gets to them sort of situations, a lot of people will get their backs up and they'll start shouting and demanding and swearing and everything. It shows a level of disrespect straight away, and you will get into some serious trouble really quickly. You're better off just withdrawing, being calm about it, being nice about it, withdraw, so that everything is on a level plane, and then come back at a later date if you need to or you want to.
Now, how often do you think you come across children's spirits as opposed to something disguising themselves as a child spirit?
You're more than likely to come across children than you are the other things.
Well, yeah, we don't believe there's a demon behind every doorknob.
No, the word demon seems to be it's a trending thing at the minute. 10 years of experience of dealing with that sort of side of things, I've come across probably 2, maybe 3 cases of that.
Makes
Out of,
sense.
what, 249
49 now?
cases of
Okay.
supposedly demonic activity and stuff.
And I don't mean to laugh. We
I always laugh with it.
Well, I'm just saying, because we get a lot of people that take that claim when they approach us, and I don't mean to laugh because to them, most of the time they truly believe that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
But that's because of Hollywood and stuff like that and shows. I'm renowned for doing it. I'll say it. The comment I'm about to say is my own personal comment. It doesn't reflect the people that we're talking to or our radio station. But prime example is Ghost Adventures, Zach Bagans. Every episode nowadays you see him talk, there's a demon. The likelihood of you ever coming across a demon is probably, you're more likely to get struck by lightning than you are to come across a demon.
But now, hasn't he kind of calmed down with that a little bit now?
He has done, yeah, because I think he's been told by certain people to calm down.
Leave your shirt on a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that bit. I'm all right
Yeah.
with the shirt. The shirt's fine.
What, keeping the shirt on?
No, you can take your shirt off.
Guess I'm sleeping on the sofa tonight.
Oh, honey. You can take your shirt off as well.
No one wants to see that.
This is not that kind of show.
No one wants to see that at all in any way, shape, or form.
For those that would like to watch the show, head over to our Patreon channel and
yeah, if you head over
The Other Dimension does have the Patreon.
If you head over to their Patreon and our Patreon, you'll see this dress down as I explain the paranormal world.
One item of clothing removal at a time.
Yeah, thus finishing
every time we say the word demon, we remove something.
Yeah. Yeah, you watch as we go through an old episode of Ghost Adventures, and I remove the part of clothing every time they say the word demon.
No, boy, that'd take less than a minute.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's catch up with the comments. But are we really watching this, or are we dreaming this as a vivid dream? It all depends on if you've been drinking dream root and such. You guys ever had dream root tea and such?
I don't think you have.
I haven't.
No, I've had ayahuasca tea a long time ago. I also had, I'm just going to say it's a black paste drink out in Istanbul. That was an interesting time.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah.
Jay's Wild says, when investigating, don't cower behind a strong-willed woman. ... Fedora.
Yeah.
Do you think that's personal jab? I mean, one of our first investigations, me and Lee Foot is similar build as me, if not a little bigger. We were at Guernsey Hollow of all places, up the road a little bit, and things were the energy was changing, and it was me, Lee, and Betsy, one of our older members. Somehow we ended up behind her. So these two big men cowering behind this woman, and I kind of looked at him and looked at her, and I kind of held him and said, "Don't you think we probably should be up front?" So that's what that's about. But in my defense, the ancient tribes and such, you send women and children first to do their negotiating because they are perceived as less as a threat, and they gather intel to bring back to the warriors. So that's my defense in this particular.
That's it. I'm throwing you into rooms now by yourself
thanks.
first.
To negotiate and to scout.
To negotiate with the spirits. I'm just going to throw you in
Bring
instead.
cookies.
Cupcakes. Aunt says had a few people panic, try to run off out of room, which that then leads to incidents because they trip and fall over. Very true. Once you start panicking and running or getting out of places too quickly, you do end up in bad situations.
Yeah.
I agree, Ben. Nothing worse than when you have to work with an idiot who loves to disrespect and antagonize ghosts. How do you guys feel about provoking?
I would say if you're going to provoke, make sure you've got the balls to deal with whatever you're going to deal with.
Fair enough.
Because a lot of time I've seen people provoke, and they'll. There's a team renowned in the UK that do a TV show, and they will provoke and give it all the big we are until there's so much as a little sound. They instantly back down and start panicking, screaming, go away, leave me alone, all that sort of stuff.
The mouse runs by them and they freak.
Yeah.
If you're going to provoke, at least be able to say you can stand there and deal with whatever you come.
But generally, just don't provoke.
Yeah,
You go into someone's, it could be like, where they're inhabiting at the time. You don't go into someone's house and just like barge in and say, "Oi, do this. Make me a cup of tea or a cup of coffee."
Coffee and Irish, or a beer. Give me a cold beer.
It's like walking into, I don't know, in America, but it's like in the UK, it'd be like walking into a pub and picking the biggest bloke in there and walking up to him and sort of slapping him across the face. You're going to end up going out the window very, very quick.
Yeah, the bars around here, yes. Matt says he likes you guys. I remember Dale's says about provoking. Like, we go in, scream at them for a while and get things riled up, walk out and tell our clients, enjoy your demons, have a lovely night.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says, me personally, I do tend to connect with child spirits more than adult spirits. However, I have also had to uncover spirits who are trying to come through as a child spirit, but they are actually an adult malevolent spirit. I'm glad I can say that. Trying to unsuccessfully to trick me. Sounds like Ant has a lot of experience in the paranormal world.
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours.
Nice. So I know you can't give a blanket statement, or I don't think you should be able to. Is there any particular way that you feel you could and when I ask these questions, feel free to give individual answers, but do you feel there's a way that you could discern from child spirit or an adult spirit or other type of spirits?
Well, that's a good question for you, actually.
Oh, thanks, honey.
It's all right. It will allow me to know if she's actually been paying attention when I've been teaching her stuff. Oh, the panic in her face.
Oh, that was panic.
You might put me on the spot.
I put her on the spot now.
And this is Matt says, always remember the power cords. Me and Matt grouped up with a joint investigation and had a nice new camera system and left the cords at home about a half hour or so away. But so
when you said power cords, I thought I just had this image of you guys turning up to an investigation with guitars. Just starting to do guitar solos.
Playing some Kiss or Beatles songs or Led Zeppelin or something. Stairway to Heaven. No, that would really provoke the spirits.
Yeah.
That would really get them going. But so, any discernment there, Lou?
It'd be in how they act. That's one thing I'd look at, how they act, the language that they use. Because I know that particularly malevolent spirits, I could try and say the word as well, when they're wanting to pretend to be something darker, they'll use certain words, and it's like, actually, if you were that type of thing that you're pretending to be, then they wouldn't call themselves that in the first place, and they wouldn't say what you're saying. So that's a trick. Other times, I do try to connect to them, and when I connect to them, I get like their true image, not the one that they're portraying. If that makes sense as well, because I'm working on abilities and techniques that I can use.
Yeah, she has been paying attention.
Thank you. I passed.
Give an A. So you agree with what she says?
Yeah, you can tell the difference between a child spirit and an actual child spirit. For starters, we all know children are very shy and are worried about approaching strangers. So a child spirit will stay relatively back. You'll probably catch the odd glimpse of them before. If you've got a child spirit that's very forward, shall we say, straight there, giving all the information out, you can tell straight away that they are not going to be one. If they freely give up a lot of information straight away.
Almost like they're over eager to
share and stuff. Usually you can tell also by the density of, say, if it's a shadow figure, you can tell by the density and the height. A child's height will obviously vary.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something else pretending, the height will be fixed no matter what.
Yeah, that's taken that people can actually see them.
Yeah, and other than that, you'll get an uneasy feeling. I've always say this to everyone: always trust your gut. Your gut is never wrong. If your gut says there's something off about this, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be there is something off about it.
Now, have you guys ever been to a place multiple times where you feel it's very safe and you know your gut is telling you that everything's good, and then the 3rd or 4th time things get not so nice?
Yeah, we've been to a few locations, haven't we, where we visit every so often to just sort of speak to the spirits in that area. Then we've been there a few times and we've seen something that's thrown us off and we've gone, that's not normally here, that's not normally right. And
what, like when we got home today?
Yeah.
And something had followed us home from the museum?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't belong here.
All right, thank you, Jeanette. I'm not sure what a kip is, but
sleep.
Kip's going to sleep. I don't think we'll be far behind you, Jeanette, in a minute.
And that is a living person behind me. Yeah, I don't hear it's wandering around. That would be Steph. You'll catch her once in a while. You won't see her very often, but you will hear her voice on the videos. The band girl from American Pie, and there was this one time at Guernsey, the movie American Pie.
Yeah.
He thinks he's funny. And Aunt says, as I tend to try and treat all spirits the same as a living person, I tend to go by how they speak, their mannerisms, words they use, and how they use the words. The list is long. Yeah, you know, I'll be honest with you. I don't think we dealt with many true child spirits. There was one time that I really, truly feel we did. And that was because their uncle, believe it or not, the house that we went to investigate had activity, but the main was 2 young girls, we believe. And it wasn't, they weren't staying at the location, they were following their uncle around.
Yeah.
So when he would go to the place, they would be there. And so, and just some of the mannerisms and things like you guys were speaking led us to believe that it was his nieces that passed away. So that kind of, and we figured that out during the actual reveal of the evidence we did have. And then things were just kind of picking up, and it was just like, wait a second. So I don't think we've dealt with like children's spirits ourselves.
Well, over here we tend to have more child spirits than non-child spirits, to be fair, than something pretending to be a child. We do just get lots of like children around here that we come across.
Over the history, like the UK, there was a lot more child deaths than there were adult deaths, obviously with plagues, all that sort of stuff.
I was about to say, you guys have more history, more, you know, a lot of human civilization started over that way. It says, as I tend to try and, we did that one already, didn't we? It takes time to gain the trust of a genuine child spirit, just as it would a living child. Yeah, I can see that. And like I said, I think the only reason why we got the ones we did was because their uncle was there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have got that reaction and interaction that we did. Because it was literally, we were using an EMF detector, and we would say, okay, and we treated it like kids on how we would speak to kids. Okay, you need to go sit over there now, and back away from the EMF detector, because it was like high, full red energy. I mean, it was all kinds of energy, and we would it would go off and it would continue on without nonstop, until we forcefully said, "Go sit down now, back away." How you would speak to like a 4-year-old kid that you need them to do something.
Child energy always produces a higher EMF field than normal spirits. That's how you can tell the difference as well on the scientific level.
I assumed.
Yeah, the energy is a lot more higher when it comes to children. It's a lot lower for more adult spirits than it is. That's a good indicator of telling.
Which makes sense. It really does. And the energy, I feel, I like to say I'm like a rock and I don't pick things up. I guess I won't say that's entirely true. My gut instinct helps me out quite a bit. And also, I do feel like an energy in a room, like, high energy, like, oh, something's here. Or, like darker energy, like, hey, something's here. So I guess I have that much going for me. And this next question is, do you guys have black-eyed children?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
Have you seen
straight
it?
away? I would just straight away go yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was gonna make a little joke there, but you went all for it. So it's like, so have you seen them yourself?
I have seen them myself on a few occasions. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'd have to say I'm kind of shocked, because either A, there's a lot of, when I ask that question, people are like, what the heck is that? Or B, I ask and they're like, no, we just read about it.
No, I've been to, I know of locations where they are seen to, I use this word loosely, but hang around.
I wouldn't say that to that location very loudly. I
Yeah,
feel
I don't give I don't give that location up at all.
probably a great thing that you don't.
It's sort of, to put it bluntly, it's their territory. I know where their territory is, and no one goes there. There's very few people that know of it, and there's even less people that go there.
Probably a good reason. I never heard of anything positive. So, do you care to elaborate on your side of things, or?
They're ridiculously powerful entities. The thing a lot of people forget is we're at the bottom of the chain, shall we say. Spirits are obviously the next level up, and then obviously you go higher and higher and higher. They are sort of up in the high tiers of things. They don't like to be interfered.
And that's how they view us.
Yeah, they don't like us interfering at all in any way, shape, or form. You have to remember, like, we've only been here a small amount of time. If you look back through historical documents, even cave paintings, there's been spiritual beings that have been here long before we even turned up.
Definitely.
These black-eyed children we know them as black-eyed children, but they exist as a different form. When you study cultology, you start to learn a bit more of different forms, different entities that outstretch the popular ones. And I'll just say, if anyone ever comes across black-eyed children, just walk away. Don't try to talk. Don't talk to them. Don't go, oh, this is a thing. And for Christ's sake, do not do any provocation whatsoever, because you will regret it within about 2 seconds.
Well, there's going to be paranormal teams and people that do that kind of stuff that come across them are going to try to interact.
And all I will say is, make sure you have spoke to your family well, and you are very happy and you've said everything you need to say to them.
That dire, huh?
Yeah. It's very rare anyone that's, well, Jeanette's gone to sleep, bless her. I'm pretty sure if he's still awake, would vouch. If I give a warning, there's a good reason I give a warning. And this is one of the biggest warnings I can give on people. If you ever come across them, just walk away.
No matter if you're pure of heart and all that.
I
make fun, but
it doesn't matter. If the worst thing you could possibly do, and this has been documented quite a few times, the worst thing you could do is probably pick up a cross and show them a cross. It will end badly.
I can see a lot of people taking that route, thinking they're demonic.
Yeah, they are far from demonic. It's I don't know how well in America these are known, but it's sort of getting onto the tiers of dealing with jinn.
Okay.
Jinn are, again, using the word demon for it, are a demonic spirit in the Middle East. Most, if not all, people tend to just turn away and walk away from anything like that. Well, they don't walk away, they run away from jinn at full speed.
Yeah, that's been beaten into our minds as well.
Yeah.
Anything to do with jinn is not a good thing if you believe in such things.
So I've said the paranormal world is brilliant. Dealing with spirits, brilliant, but beyond the level of human spirits and stuff like that is where we tend to forget that we are lower down. The higher up you go, it'd be like us walking into a cage full of lions with meat strapped to us. Sometimes we need to think, it's probably not a good idea to deal with this sort of thing.
And I think that kind of goes along with the line to walk into a place unprepared.
Yeah.
And you find stuff that you're not, because there's been a couple cases that we've been to where we were at the location several times and it didn't seem next to nothing. That last time we got in some trouble.
Yeah.
And that's once again going on with being in the field as long as people would get. The longer we're in it, the more comfortable we are, the more trouble we'll be in.
Yeah.
We forget to do our safe practices and we kind of let this good things slide through because, we've been to 400 cases, what's this one?
Yeah. The best thing you can do in them situations is literally put your hands up and say, as weird as it sounds, just go, look, I apologize. We're in the wrong. We're going to withdraw. That's the best thing you can do.
That's interesting. That's if I ever come across those, I will be honest with you right now that I never wanted to come across black-eyed kids or anything of their nature.
Yeah.
Just off of basic, I don't know. I just never felt the need to do so. And I've always had in my mind that if I ever did come across such a thing, I probably wouldn't try to interact. I don't know why, but must be my gut again.
Yeah.
But hopefully those watching will take his advice and listen. I will say you're the first one that I've spoke with or heard that's interacted with them or seen them in person. An aunt says, I think we all have favorite little places that we check in on the spirits now and then. On the rare occasion you do pick up on a new or visiting spirit that you sense pretty much immediately on your arrival. So yes, it can and does happen that you go to a favorite location and there are visitors in the spirit realm. Yeah, that's another thing. Do you believe that they're bound to the location where they passed or whatnot, or you think they're free to move about?
We've seen evidence with just us, haven't we, that spirits are not bound to locations. They can come and go.
Sometimes they get stuck.
Yeah.
And they can't do it, but generally we found that they can come and go quite freely to different locations, and with the ones that are stuck you just have to help them
along,
not be stuck so then they can move around as well,
sort of show them where the door is again.
Yeah.
It says some of us know when to walk away, unfortunately others do not. I have also met accidentally came across various spiritual entities, my apologies, and walked away, as it's really not difficult to know when you need to leave alone and you are not welcome. Yeah, I get the feeling that if most of us truly do use their sense of their gut or their sixth sense or whatever they want to call it, they know that, okay, this is not a place I need to be. This is something that we need to step away from. I think you put 10 people in that situation, I think 9 are going to walk away. The 10th one, well, they learned the hard way. Hopefully they come back.
Leave them to it.
See that now, that would be a difficult situation for me. And it might be my downfall one of these days is if I see somebody trying to do something that's not very brilliant, I would try to stay and help.
Yeah. I've done it a few occasions where I've walked away and someone's refused to back down, and it's been, as bad as it sounds at the time, I had to get the guy in a headlock and physically drag him away from the place.
For their own well.
Yeah, for their own safety, basically.
Treat it like a drunken friend.
It wasn't nice, and it wasn't nice. Like, every time I mention it, it still makes me feel a bit sour inside, but sometimes you've got no other option.
Yeah. And that's, I hope my team would do that for me if I'm being that unintelligent about things, where hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but if it does, it does. But folks, I'm imagining it's really late there for you guys.
Yeah, we're just going to say, because I think we could just carry on talking all night, couldn't we, really?
Yeah. I'm sure.
We'll have to do it again.
Oh, and that's one thing that I was going to ask. It seems like the chat really enjoyed having you guys here, and your friends as well. And I thank them for visiting while you guys were here.
Yeah.
So if you guys are game for another night.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
2:42, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the time I'm waking up to go to work.
So we have one again, so whenever you want us on.
Yeah.
Maybe we could schedule something a little earlier in the day, maybe a Sunday after your guys' show or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you guys do a show Sunday mornings or afternoons?
Sunday afternoons, we on 7:30 till 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, once again, you guys could probably find all that information out from the other dimension. They're on Facebook. Make sure you go give them a like. Tell them that you came from here, so they know that it was worth their time. No, I had pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, mate. It's been a pleasure.
I mean, like you said, I could go on all night, but you guys look like you're about ready to sleep on camera.
Yeah, not far off.
Yeah, we're doing all right, to be fair.
that nap helped, but not quite.
Yeah, I can make it so far.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for coming on. You're on video now, saying you'll come back, so we'll hold.
Yeah, we got to.
We'll come back anyway. It's been a pleasure talking.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Awesome. All right, guys. Good night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Night.
See you later.
If I can figure out how to remove you. That's it. You guys are stuck here for 3 days. All right, guys. Good night.
Night.
Night, buddy.
Hey, guys. Wow. 2 hours. It seems like maybe a half hour. It was a wonderful show. Learned so much, more than I know. So I'm tired enough where I'm not even making sense anymore myself. But like they said, they're going to come back. It seems like every time we have people from the UK and such, we learn so much. So why not keep having more and more and more people from over there jump on our show and learn? I appreciate those that came from their social media platforms to watch them, and I invite you to come back even when they're not on. And no demonic puppy. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, we try not to do demonic stuff around here, right? But instead of a long outro, I invite you guys to come back next Friday night. Can you believe that? I'll be with the paranormal consultant on the USS North Carolina ship. It's a huge ship, very active from what I understand. How about I just let you jump on the show? I'll go to sleep and you could host it till I get back up in the morning. How's that sound? But so join us, and we'll be doing a little live, couple minutes here, couple minutes there, updating you. It's like an 11-hour drive from where I'm at, so and I'm working that morning, so it's gonna be like a 16-hour drive to get down there. I don't know how cheerful I'll be, but hey, why not, right? You only live once. And how often do you get to go on a haunted ship? Let's just be happy that it's dry docked and not out in the middle of the ocean. But so with that, everybody, I will see you soon. And as always, stay spooky, my friends. Maybe if I remember how to do this.